If you've got a website, then I am 99% sure that it's not creating leads. I see this so often, and I've done so for over 31 years that I've been helping and advising over 10,000 businesses. And I've worked in over 50 different industries, helping people and business owners to create more leads. I create an average of 45% increase in leads within 12 months. Now, that said, today I'm here to talk to you about a specific area of marketing, and that is CRO, or conversion rate optimization. And it's something that it's almost like the hidden thing in the world of websites. Websites are pretty much universal. Every business owner pretty much has a website, and yet most of them don't win any business. Now, what they do, and they're pretty good at, is getting traffic to their website. So they'll use social media, LinkedIn, advertising, they'll use email, and so on and so forth, with the purpose of getting people from A to B, from wherever it is, perhaps on LinkedIn, to go and visit their website. And that's great. The problem is that they're visiting a website that doesn't turn visits into leads and sales. And so, in a way, it's just like taking all that effort and often all that money and just flushing it down the toilet because it doesn't work. Today's video is all about what to do about that, how to improve your CRO, your conversion rate optimization. As it says on the wall behind me, what to do if your website doesn't create leads. Now, anybody who's thinking, well, I've got a website, but, I don't want, it's a brochure site. It's not about that. To be quite honest, that's absolute BS. You've probably spent several £1,000s. I met a lady once who'd spent £50,000 on this, what was a fantastic website, 50 grand. And she'd come to me because she'd had it 6 months and won no business. No business, £50,000 won no business. When I asked her what she'd done to market it, and she said to me, well, nothing. I spent all the money on getting this, fantastic website. That's not a good return on investment. And being a Yorkshireman, I'm always talking to my clients about their ROI, their return on investment. Are they getting a good return on investment? So if you're not getting a good return on your investment, then it's time to take action and time to listen. By the way, just to introduce myself, my name's Steve Mills. As I said, 31 years now helping businesses to improve. And to be honest, you can't be that bad at your job if you're stuck at it and you've won business yourself for over 31 years. I learned my skills and my trade from the world's leading sales, marketing, business growth experts, and I pass that information on to my small business clients. So that said, just bear with me 1 minute while I share my screen and get everything set up. I got a few slides to show you, and I got some great ideas that are going to make a vast difference to you and your business and your website if you take on board my ideas. But I will just tell you, because this is true, a lot of people come to a video like this, they get to this point and they think, oh, well, I'm busy, I need to go and do something. And, they miss out, which I think is really sad. And I also, even worse, get people who go to the end, think it was really good, and then do nothing. It's like you've just, at least the people who disappear off haven't wasted the time. The people who stayed and then done nothing have, got nothing from it, really. So, if you get to the end and you think that what I've said is of value, then I'd strongly recommend that you get in touch with me. I'd recommend that you book a meeting with me. And to do that, go to results-mastery.com and book a meeting. let's have a chat, see what we can do and how we can help you to overcome not only conversion rate optimization, but get you that 45% growth in your business. Anyway, on with what we're talking about now. So just bear with me a second. Okay, right, here we go. Right, so welcome everybody to Results Mastery. That's the name of my company, with me, Steve Mills. Today we're going to be looking at conversion rate optimization. Are you spending a fortune in time, money, and effort getting traffic to your website and winning no leads because you're driving them to a website that doesn't convert? Let me just say, if you are, you're not alone. That happens to a lot of businesses. And one of the things I do is to help solve that problem. So you're going to get some great ideas. I'm not keeping anything back. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do in order to overcome conversion rate problems. So I'm not going to read that, but there's just a little bit of information about me. As I've already said, I've been around for a long time. I'm really good at what I do. Not saying that to be big-headed, but just a fact. I get an average of 45% growth. I've worked with over 10,000 businesses. And my record growth was £42 million I helped a client to create. And he tells me the commission check is in the post, but it's not arrived yet, but I'm sure it will any day now. Okay, onwards. More, better, and new. This is something I picked up from a guy called Alex Hormozi, who's one of these like leading, world leading experts in sales and marketing that I learned so much from. And he talks about marketing as having three keys to it. One is to do it better, to improve whatever it is you're doing, whether it's your optimization of your website or your LinkedIn marketing, your emailing, your advertising, whatever it is. Once you've got it better, it's a matter of just doing more of it. Let's keep doing what we're doing, what's working. And, for advertising, for example, just spend more on advertising. Once you know that for every pound you spend, you're getting 12 pounds back, just keep going and doing more and more and more. Lastly, new. This is the stuff that you're not doing that you need to do, and you need to test in a small, conservative way and make sure that you measure everything that you do. So I thought I'd just put that in there as an example. So your website's job, this is where we really start, where we really get into it. Your website's job is to convert, not to look impressive. It's to create leads. And one of the problems with that is that your website was designed by a designer, who likes to make things look pretty and beautiful and eloquent and all those other words that I could come up with. My job is to turn that into something that converts. Traffic does not fix the problem of a website that doesn't persuade, that doesn't convert. And spending time, money, and effort getting thousands of people to a website that doesn't convert is a waste of time, money, and effort. A visually impressive website and a converting website are simply not the same. They're a different website. Now, you need to make a decision. Which type of website would you like? Do you want one that looks nice and pretty, or do you want one that creates leads and sales? The largest gains often come from a number of high impact decisions. And I'm going to help you to make some decisions about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and how you're going to measure those results. On the last line there, it says focus is clarity. And that is so incredibly true. We need to focus on it. We need to make sure that the website that we've got is clear. How many times have you been to a website where you've gone on there, you've spent a minute or two maybe looking around it, and at the end of that, you have no clue what that company does. I've done that so many times you wouldn't believe. I just don't know what they do. What is it that they do? It's just a nightmare. And the next one is action, or specifically calls to action. What is it? If I asked you, when somebody arrives on your website, what is the one thing that you want them to do? Now, you might have two or three things, but I'm talking about the number one thing. If you go to my website, the number one thing I want you to do is to book a meeting with me. That's my end goal. I don't necessarily expect people to go to my website and give me a load of money, although some people do for some of my lower end services. They put their credit card in and pay me to join my Kickstart program, for example. But what I really want is a meeting with them so I can talk to them, find out about their business, find out what they're doing in marketing and sales, define what's working and what's not, what we can work on, and then talk to them about how much my help would be. So that's what I want, and that's really, really important. Now, behind that, I also want to maybe some people are not ready yet for a meeting. They're here to have a little look. And I want them to maybe sign up to perhaps download a report, book on a webinar or an event that I'm running. I want them to have a look at some videos that I've got on my site that are like free training videos. I want them to utilize some of the software that I've got that will help them to grow their business anyway. I quite like them to go to my blog and have a look at that because there's some great tips and ideas on that. But my ultimate objection, not objection, my ultimate objective is to get them to sign up to something, to give me their contact details in exchange for something. And within all that, we need to measuring and learning are in the same world. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see with businesses, they do not measure. How many people make inquiries as a result? If you get 1,000 people to your website in a month, what does that equal? No inquiries, 1 inquiry, 10 inquiries, 30 inquiries. What are the numbers that sit behind your website optimization? And once you know that, you can start thinking about improving it. The same could be true of a downloading a report. I've got a report on my website. Let's say, I don't know, I'm a landscape gardener and I write a report called The 10 Biggest Mistakes That People Make When Considering Landscape Gardening. And the question is, I get 1,000 people to come to my website. How many people download the report? And if that's 2 or 20 or 200, that's a major difference. So we've got to make sure, whatever it is, even if it's 200, how can we increase it? What can we do to improve the effectiveness of what we're doing is a real key that I talk about all the time. So here we go. Conversion beats traffic every time. Absolutely. You could spend a load of time and effort getting more people to your website, and so what? It doesn't really matter. You can't put website views into a bank, as far as I'm aware. Only thing you can put into the bank is cash. And the only way of creating cash is to create leads and meetings and then sales. Unless you're selling Mars bars where you can just sell them and go straight to the cash. But anyway, so number one then, let's have a look at this traffic conundrum. Firstly, ad platforms at auctions. You're going to spend money on that. And the problem with that is that you really need to make sure that, let's say, for example, you spend, I don't know, £1,000 to get 500 people from Google to your website. So that click, that visit to your website has cost you £2. You get the maths? I'm sure you do. So £2 for get somebody to the website, and you get 500. And at the moment, that equals 5 meetings. 5 meetings. Let's say you are getting some meetings, but you're only getting 5. So if you're getting 5, then that meeting is costing you £200. You get 5 meetings for £1,000 in advertising. You with me? So that's very expensive. If you could improve the number of meetings, you could reduce the cost of acquisition, the cost of getting that meeting. So we need to be working on that by improving the conversion rate. Sending paid traffic to an unclear page that people don't understand is just a waste of time. You might as well go and take the cash and flush it down the toilet, or better still, go and give it to charity so that somebody else can benefit, because you're not doing, all you're doing is creating traffic. So really important. Judge the site by understanding and action, not by winning design awards. So your website, it doesn't matter how good it looks, how great it is, how much people like it. All that matters is people understand what you do and they take action on that by doing something, booking a meeting, downloading a report, etc., etc. Identify 2 or 3 decisions that actually move conversion. So this is what we're going to look at now. So what are the couple of things that you could do right now, excuse me, right now to actually improve your conversion rate optimization? Let's go and take a look. So number 2, the important thing about this is something called above the fold. What do we mean when we talk about above the fold? Well, those of you who are old enough will remember in the good old days, and still today to some extent, people bought newspapers, and you'd see them on the shelves, and often they'd be folded. They wouldn't be the whole page. You'd just see the top part of the page. And that was known as above the fold advertising. That was always the most expensive advertising, and was always the most important part of the newspaper. The front page at the top, that's where all the best headlines, stories, adverts, pictures, and so on was kept. In the modern world that we live in now, nothing has changed. It's except this is the most important part of your website. Probably the most important place of your website is your homepage above the fold. And the fold is when people have to scroll down. So it's the bit that they see before they scroll down. That is the most important part. And it doesn't only concern the homepage. It's whatever page somebody lands on. So when they go from the home page to go and have a look at what you do, at your products and services, they've still got an above the fold bit. So it's the first thing they see when they look at my Kickstart program, for example. So it's a really, really important thing. So let's just have a look at some of the ideas we can use in order to improve that. So firstly, if we're going to improve things, what we don't want to do is to improve 48 different things at once. Why? Because we don't know which one has made the huge difference. So we might, for example, start by testing different headlines. We might do what's known as a split test, where we change the headline over a period of time. We then might go to the hero image, so the main image that maybe sits behind or at the side of your headline. And I can tell you that I personally have helped one particular company. I've helped loads of companies with this, by the way, but one particular company, I changed the headline and I removed the one that they got, and I wrote 6 words. That month, they made £5 million. £5 million from the headline, and the 6 months before they'd made no sales, none at all, not a single lead had they created. And just by changing 6 words on a web page, I managed to make them £5 million. I say that not to impress you, but to impress upon you that this stuff works. This is really powerful. Let me give you an example of a really, really, to be honest, crap headline. It's called Our Services or About Us. Let's be clear, nobody gives a rat's ass about you. All they care about is what you can do for them. They don't care about me. Why would they? They're here on your website to find out how you can help. And that's a really, really important defining thing. If you look at your website, you've probably got we can do this and we can do that, and what's known as we all over the page, instead of talking about the results that you can achieve. So test your headlines, definitely. Test the use of images. Avoid doing 40 things, as I've said, and look at each week trying to improve it by a little bit. Just look at a couple of little improvements, maybe even one improvement every week compounds over a year to produce 52 different improvements in your website. That's how you get good. That's how you get good at sport, isn't it? You know, if you're playing tennis, you're not going to get good at your back on your forehand, your slice, your serve, your defense, your attack, your footwork, your everything. You're going to do it one bit at a time. One training session might be on your serve. So one training session, as far as your website's concerned, might be on your homepage, or the use of videos, or the addition of testimonials or case studies, improving your calls to action. Loads of things that you can do to improve your website. I saw a website the other day. It was actually a client of mine's, and he had a little button in the top corner, and it said, book a review meeting. Book a review meeting. And I said to him, look, I wonder whether we could come up with a better headline than that. This is like a sub. It wasn't a headline for the page. It was just a little button on the corner, and it said book a review meeting. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what about book a free review meeting? Do you think that might get more people booking a meeting? Might do. Okay, so how can we improve it even more? I said, well, why don't we say book a free financial review meeting? That might work, mightn't it? You can see the difference between book a review meeting to book a financial review meeting. Or what about book a no obligation financial review meeting? So you tell them, look, they're not in any obligation. We sort of know that anyway, don't we? But you're with me. Now, I don't know which one of those would improve results, get more people clicking and booking a meeting. But what I do know is by testing the use of different things, different words, different colors, different sizes, location, instead of it being in the top corner, pull it front and central, make it bigger and bright orange or yellow or whatever, make it bright and stand out. That could be really, really powerful. It could be then that you add a video to that page, saying with you saying, welcome to my page, welcome to my website, please take a look round. And by the way, if you're interested in a no obligation free meeting with me, I'd be very happy to talk to you and conduct a financial review of your business. If you want to do that, click the button just below this video. Do you think that would do better than having a little button in the corner that says book a review? I think it would. So really important thing to do. Okay, next one. Pass the 5-second test. People are going to come to your website. If you've got Google Analytics, which you should have on your website, you'll be able to see your results. How many people visit your website? Which pages do they look at? How long do they stay on your site? and what's the bounce rate. The bounce rate, by the way, is the number of people who come to your site and bounce straight off it. If you've got people where, or you've got a result on the site that says the average person stays on your website for 3.2 seconds, you've got a problem. You need them staying a little bit longer than that, don't you? You know, at least for a couple of minutes. Okay, some of them might stay for 5-10 minutes. Others coming on the site, like half a second and disappearing off. So we need to pass that 5-second test. To do that, we've got to make sure that our first screen, the first thing they see above the fold and below it, is for you to explain who you help, what you do, and the result that is available, or the result that you can provide for them or help them to produce. Really important. Make the value understandable. Make them, understand what you can do. If you go to my website, you'll be shocked to hear that it says I can help you get a 45% growth in your business within 12 months. I tell them, who's this for? Who's it for? It's for small business owners. What is the result that you can expect? Well, I don't know. It depends how much you turn over, but I do know it's 45% growth on average. So, this stuff is really, really powerful. Make the value understandable within 5 seconds. So I don't want to have to search for it. People are very lazy on the internet. And what we often do is we have a load of blurb all about us and what we do. We've been established 15 years. We're one of the most highly respected law firms in the south of England. We can help you with moving house, blah, blah, blah. But what we really want is to know what it is that you're going to do for us. So avoid polished but impersonal AI visuals, whether AI or not. The corporate, with 6 beautiful young people giving each other high fives in a stunning boardroom, which is clearly not yours. That's like the first time you're lying to them, isn't it? They come to your website, they see this incredible office with these stunning people, and they're thinking, when's he going to lie to me again? So again, really, really important. Okay, number 4, sell the result, not the website. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Using what I call the value equation, let's look at what you need to do in terms of creating an outcome, perceived likelihood, divided by the time delay, effort, and sacrifice. Oh, sorry, clicked on that and didn't mean to. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, what is the dream outcome of a client for you? I don't know your business, but for me, people come to me when they've got one of 3 problems. They either don't have time to do their own marketing, so their dream outcome is that their marketing gets done for them, or they don't get the modern digital AI type marketing, and they want to learn how to do it. They want to do it themselves, and they want to learn how to do it. So it's like either they haven't got time to do it, or they don't know what to do. They're the 2 biggest problems. And the third one, and this happens probably to about 10% of people, they say, well, I've not really done any marketing. We've been winning business from referral and repeat business, but things have started to slow down. I wonder why that is, because they've not kept up to date with modern digital marketing methods. So once I know what those 3 problems are, they've fallen behind the times, they don't have time, they don't understand what to do, and they need help. So that's the outcome. And ultimately, none of those things really, all they want is more sales. That's ultimately what they want, but they've got those 3 perceived problems. They've then got to think about, well, what's the likelihood? Steve tells me that he can help me, but you know, I didn't really know him till I went to his website. So what's the likelihood? How can I help somebody by presenting the fact that I can help them more clearly? Well, I can show them things like, you know, 150 testimonials that I've got on my website. I can show them things like 15 video testimonials on my website. I can show them case studies of what was happening, what I did when I came in, and what were the results, where I'd helped a business turn around within 9 months and double the size of the business in that time, where I helped an accountant go from 15 to over 75 leads within 3 months, and so on and so forth. And we've got to measure that or position that against the time delay, haven't we? You know, if somebody is thinking, well, it all sounds good, but that's going to take time, isn't it, Steve? You know, we can't expect that much in the first 12 months. Well, you know, with some people, no, but I would expect significant growth I would expect somebody to pay for my service within the first 2 months, at least, probably in the first month. So 12-month, you join my Results Mastermind program, 12-month program, you'll have earned enough money to pay for it within the first month, guaranteed. You know, that's really what we're looking at by you know, reducing and explaining that time delay. And then they've got to think about, well, how much effort am I going to have to put in? What's it going to cost me? And is it all going to be worth it? And we've got to have, again, words and ideas that are around that to make sure that that's really clear. So that's that. Number 5, remove the risk before the click. Really, again, a really important one. As you can see there, I've got my dream outcome that I was just talking about, perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay to minimize, effort and sacrifice. It's all about minimizing that. So let's just take a look at this, put the proof where the doubt peaks. Testimonials, already mentioned that. Case studies, review scores, real numbers, replace, you know, satisfaction guaranteed. Be specific. You know, if I don't make you at least £50,000 in additional income within 12 months, then, you know, whatever it is, you get your money back. You know, I'll continue to work with you. You know, whatever it is that you're going to guarantee. Place proof directly beside or beneath the call to action button. Again, really important. Prove it. You don't tell me how good you are, prove how good you are. That's a really good tip for your website. Lower the action threshold until clicking feels safer than postponing. You know, when you think about it, you're not competing against competitors. You're competing often against doing nothing, carrying on as you are. That's your biggest competitor that you're competing against. So let's talk just for a minute. I'm coming to the end now, but pretty website versus a converting website. Pretty but passive, uses generic industry language, looks like every other website, relies on stock or impersonal AI imagery. A converting website explains the value within 5 seconds, sells the customer desired result, uses real people, proof and specificity, and shows distinct process and point of view. By the way, there's a saying that Jordan Belfont, who was the Wolf of Wall Street, famously made, and that is that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. They also buy from companies that they know, like, and trust, and they lastly buy products and services that they know, like, and trust. So that's the job of you and your business and your website and your marketing, is to get people to know, like, and trust you, your company, and your products and services. So let's look at the 4 keys to SEO then. What are they? Firstly, you need to think about what are you going to do. The people who are better able to convert those eyeballs are going to be the ones who are able to compete and win. So we've got to get the eyeballs. You got to get people from, LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and all those other social media sites, from your YouTube channel, from your podcast, from advertising. And the people who get them there and then convert them are the ones who are going to win. Action is the key. Spending time with me today hopefully has been interesting, but it won't win you any business whatsoever until and unless you take action. If you're worried about whether it'll work or not, I got 10,000 businesses. I got 150 testimonials. I've got videos, I've got everything I can show you to prove. I've been around for 31 years. I'm not going to have had that level of success in that time if I can't do what I say. So, and it's the same with you, by the way. So think about what you're selling, how you're competing against and not doing anything, and selling against that big obstacle, which is risk. Okay, the idea could make you a fortune. Make them an offer that is so good that they'd be stupid to refuse it. This idea, this one idea, this is from Alex Hormozi in his book, which I'd strongly recommend, by the way, 100 Million Offers. Alex Hormozi, great book. He sold, I believe it's 5 million copies in the first 3 days of it coming out. That gives you some idea how good that book is. And one of the key things that I took from it is to make people an offer that is so good that they'd be stupid to refuse it. So that in itself, I think, is well worth your participation in today's video. So that's it. Make your next website change. Make sure it actually counts. If you want to know more from me, if you want to ask me about your website, if you want to talk to me about your marketing, if you want to create an average of 45% growth within 12 months, then book a meeting. Go to my website, results-mastery.com, and we can talk about how to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Thanks very much for listening. So, thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, and even more, if you've benefited from it and you'd like to know more, you'd like more of my help, and you'd like to benefit from my nearly 30 years of experience working with and learning from the leading experts in the world in the area of sales and marketing, then here's what you need to do next. You need to go to my website, which is results-mastery.com, and use the gold button to book yourself a meeting on a one-to-one basis with me. Thank you very much for listening again, and I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Thank you.